Hello and welcome back to Billy Ho Sports. Happy 4th of July week. This Friday is the 4th, and we have fireworks at Saratoga in terms of racing, that is. Check out the previews for the Belmont Derby, the Manila, and the Grade 2 Suburban already released. Today's video, we're covering races 7 through 11, aka the late pick 5 hammer. And that will include all the commenters in the next Split the Pot draw coming soon, which is scheduled for Haskell Stakes Day at Monmouth 2 weeks from Saturday. Check the description for details if you're new to the channel. But to gain entry, it's pretty simple. You just have to be a subscriber. Leaving a comment, get your name in the draw, smashing that like always helps. Using the hashtag BHS in your comment helps promote the channel. So, in these 4th of July videos, people always discuss their go-to foods for the 4th of July. But when it comes to 4th of July, cooking out is the thing. I'm a carnivore. Give me all the steak, the chicken, the burgers, the brats, and the dogs. I don't really even care that much for the sides. I like a little corn on the cob action, things of that nature. But ribeye steaks are always a good go-to. But I have come around to the petite sirloins I've been getting from Aldi here lately. Comes in the vacuum sealed packages, and when cooked properly, nothing better for the price. So also Aldi, some of the best Tyson baby back ribs I've seen around for the best prices too. So not sure what the pricing is in your neck of the woods, but baby back ribs, a 4th of July staple as well. I love doing some baby back ribs. So anyway, you can leave a comment, tell me your go-to food, or give me your best bet for the pick 5. Anything you want to put on the comments is more than welcome. Let's jump right into things with race number 7 and look at the contenders. So race number 7, we're going 6.5 furlongs for maidens, 100K purse, and it is 3-year-olds and upwards. And we have a few first-time starters in here, and I'll have some things to say about that. But we start with Apalta, and that's Todd Pletcher, Irad Ortiz, sired by Authentic. The dam has 3 winners. The workouts look good. I like when they debut, or I like when they have that bullet 2 works back. That was out of the gate too. That little, you see the BG, the tiny G is a gate work. That's 1 out of 9. Not too many gate works, so it's just the first of 9. But I like the 4 and 48. That's bullet gate again, 3 of 61. So this horse is really working sharply for the first race, and could pop at first asking. So keep an eye out. Number 2, Shadow Banking. This is Chad Brown, Flavian Pratt. It's first in the Prime Power, and sired by McLean's Music, who I'm warming up to as a nice sire for fast sprinters. You got the Macho Music that just won big time, and River Thames is a half brother, also sired by McLean's Music. So Klarovich Stables all looks good here for the number 2. I just need to verify when the odds come out that this one's going to be probably your betting favorite. So Game Bread is the next one. That's Honor AP. The 5th place finish, the speed figure is not very good. You can see that. State Bred Maiden, so I'm going to pass on Game Bread. Worthy Charge is another Chad Brown entry, first-time starter. Has a couple of really good workouts, a sharp 5 furlong workout, June 22nd. That was a bullet gate, 1 of 10, going a minute. The Breeding Suits, the dam has a winner. Liam's Map, good sire. Everything points toward Dylan Davis, who's an aggressive jock on sprinters. So Chad Brown, obviously first time debut, all his percentages are lockstep with this horse being able to produce first at first asking. So this one might be a wait and see, but it could be also a use. And then you have another first time starter for Bill Mott getting Jose Lascano aboard. This one is Subito. It's also owned by Judamont Stables, so the connections are there. Spatestown, I did a little research on Spatestown. Great sire for sprinters. Progeny has had much success on the Saratoga Dirt as well. So Subito could be probably a good price, I would say. And definitely does have some good works. Mott's been tearing it up. He's got 4 wins and 10 starts over the last 2 weeks. So he's really getting it done. So Subito's on the radar too. Then you throw in another Mott horse with Junior aboard, the Derby winning connections, Fort Nelson, who had one race, but coming off that long layoff, obviously, I don't typically like horses coming off that long of a layoff, but this one is more like a first time starter in a way, adding Lasix as well and sired by a Bernardini is kind of interesting. So I'm not really sure how that translates to sprinting, but maybe a good kickoff point. So one to watch, maybe. Uh, I will say this: Key was the horse that beat him at the odds on chalk, but Key hasn't really produced like he was touted to do. Was supposed to be really on the Derby trail, but just kind of failed miserably. Then you had the third place horse, Antisocial, did go ahead and win his debut coming out. You can see the italics. He debuted just a month or so ago and got it done. So Fort Nelson, definitely one you can look at. One Pac is a first time starter. When you have poor trainer wins and poor jockey wins and just not really good percentages here, I definitely toss the first time starters because as a rule, I don't like to use them anyway. But when you have a really good, when you don't have that great of maidens to go with it with experience, then you kind of look that way a little bit. But good as he gets, seems to be very, very seasoned for a maiden, and which is also kind of a negative when it takes that many cracks to get there, and has been claimed actually as of 622. So first with claim, second off layoff, and some pretty good figures for Abreu in that category. And then obviously you got Jose Ortiz moving back up to off his just stellar Churchill Downs. So I don't know if he's going to have a little regression. Obviously, 14% over the last 28 starts is not nearly his. I think he was winning at some ridiculous 25-26% clip at Churchill. So this one should improve going back to the dirt. But I think coming off just 2 weeks rest, even if it was a chased and tired scenario, I don't like horses doing that. So I pass for that reason alone. And then you got Rebellious Type, another first time starter. Johnny V's good with those as well. Uh, Definitely Amelia Green is a trainer to watch out for down the road. She just got her license after Breeders' Cup in 2024. And then what does she do? Her very first starter ever on command, December 1st, wins. And now she's got 8 wins and 43 starters so far. So she has a record of over 50% in the money as well. But this is another one I'll take a wait and see attitude on. So that's going to cover race number 7. Race number 7, number 2, Shadow Banking stands out for obvious reasons. Also having interest in number 6, Fort Nelson, making the 3-year-old debut. Normally, I don't like backing horses coming off that long layoff, but this one showed some early speed in the only start, going against a lot of first-time starters. So adding Lasix too helps. Then you have the number 8, Good as he gets, upgrading to the jockey, turning back to a sprint on dirt. He's got more than 180 speed figure there, so that should contend. Then for underneath exotics, you got the 1, the 4, and the 5, all first time starters worth considering. But overall, it's a race that individually I would probably skip unless some scratches come down the pike to leave me with better options. Now, race number 8 is the Manila Stakes. And this is where you're going to see why we go 6 deep the first round. This is a mile on the inner turf. And the race just basically sets up. If you go watch my preview video, I just spell it all out for you. The race sets up perfectly for Zulu Kingdom. But you have Maui Strong, real quick. That's Del Roman's horse. I mentioned in a previous video, this one beat Final Gambit on the turf back in the fall. So that was a nice win, and driving too, kicked past all those horses impressively, and then kind of just did a little bit of all weather, and then got back on the turf. Second in the Kitten's Joy, third in the Transylvania. but really didn't look good in the American turf. Then drops down to a mile and goes optional claiming and gets beat again as a odds-on favorite. So I don't. I think I'm just going to have to let this horse prove it to me. I think it may be just a little flash in the pan for Maui Strong and Dale Romans. As much as I like the guy, he's won 59 starts in his graded stakes record. Not good. 2% winning. So tis dashing as another one I'm passing on. Tis the law. I don't like the sire for turf. Uh, no better than sixth in any of his he was no better than sixth in the Woodhaven, then third in an optional claimer, fifth in the Kitten's Joy. So no class. Fire Pit's another pass, most likely. Optional claiming ranks were good to him, but I don't think he's any match. Outclassed completely in this one. Definitely no connections. Andy Hernandez and Preciado Guadalupe. So no thanks there. Here's Zulu Kingdom. Tactical speed, perfect for the inner turf. Has some inner turf experience at Saratoga, where the grade 3 anticipation win, then the Pilgrim backed that up on the inner turf there as well. So the horse just has the perfect tactical speed to be up on the lead for the inner turf, has a nice inside-ish draw, not on the rail, but not on the outer edge either. So everything Chad Brown, Flavian Pratt on the turf, just give it up for that one. It's not a lock, but we should see this 3-year-old going against older horses down the road, in my opinion. So he's going to have to deal with the next contender, though, which is Reagan's Wit. And Reagan's Wit really good. Scratched out of the American Derby for this opportunity. Lost by a neck to Zulu Kingdom at Tampa, but avoided had some trip trouble at Transylvania running fourth, so it wasn't that great. But has the ability to compete and has proven it before. And then just the all out effort ridden out in the J.W. Murphy, which was not a graded stakes, but it was still a good race going a mile this distance. So he's got the talent, just needs the trip. Another one that looks like it's got the talent too is lightly raced uncatalyzed, and that is Chad Brown and Irad Ortiz. I'm sired by Kingman. Queen's Code has just deep roots in the turf breeding there. Then just lost to Capitol Hill, outkicked at the end. She probably should have won that race, but then had a nice turn of foot. Is handy for the inner turf. I like the way his stride lengthened. That's a good sign. He's ahead of the curve. He this one after brushing the gate, he got up there and got on the lead and was striding out really well. So uncatalyzed needs a little more experience, but is definitely going to be competitive here. Revolutionaire is Miggy Clement and Joel Rosario. The Pops won this race back in 2020, third behind Reagan's Wit and Zulu Kingdom at the Tampa race, but wasn't any much of a threat there. I don't think he's going to be much of a threat here as well. I don't see a big improvement enough to beat the other ones. Now you see 100% beaten favorite, but I don't think that's a big sample size there for Miggy. So he just took over Pop's operation just about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago or whatever. So no thanks on that one. Capitol Hill did get that nice maiden win over Uncatalyzed, but hasn't shown anything since. Fourth in Allowance Company, then really just awful when he tried the dirt. So maybe dirt to turf is the angle, but only 10% for Bill Mott, Johnny V. So I'm going to pass on Capitol Hill and also passing on Golden Channel. The outside posts are kind of tough to overcome on the inner turfs, especially for early speed horses. You get caught wide, and that's Golden Channel's problem. So I'm going to pass on that. And then Straight Cash Homie did get the win on the maiden at Santa Anita. And now Sherry DeVoe takes the reins, heavily bet in debut. This one could be interesting on the outside, more of a pressing. If Hernandez can get this horse into position and doesn't get caught wide going from post 10, could be in the mix for some exotics, but not going to get there on the ticket. The rest of them, Mythical Man and Flat to the Mat, both have compromising post positions toward the back, and both are a little bit light in the speed figures. I did like Flat to the Mat in the Paradise Creek, almost beating Clock Tower, but Clock Tower was a little bit too far ahead in that race. But basically what it amounts to in this race is, big fields do create variance on turf, but this race just sets up perfectly for Zulu Kingdom. And like I said, stablemate uncatalyzed, probably pressing on the lead, but should stay out of his way. This race is all about Zulu Kingdom and getting him the right trip to win. So I'm going to take number 4 as the single Zulu Kingdom, and I'll probably play the 1, 5, and 6 and 7 underneath in some form or fashion in the trifecta, maybe a key box trifecta, but things of that nature. But we're singling the 4. Race 8 is all about some Zulu Kingdom. I do think Reagan's Wit is a threat, but I just think the setup of the race is much better for the 4 horse. Now you also have the number 1 Maui Strong, number 6 Uncatalyzed, good exotics use. So probably what I'll do is key the 4, like for a trifecta box, and then maybe or just do a straight key the 4 on top, then use the 157 in the second slot, spread things out for the third part of the try with the 7, 8, 10. So maybe like key the 4 on top with 157 with 1, 5, 7, 8, 10. Sounds like a plan. This one's 9 furlongs on the turf for 3-year-olds. It is odd. I thought back-to-back races with a mile and then 9 furlongs for the same age group on the same surface just did seem kind of weird because some of these horses could have gone either way. So anyway, Belmont Derby, Tank draws Louis Saez back. Louis kicked off a nice three win racing streak here down here at Tampa, and then Jarmillo took it home for the next 2. Now Louis jumps back up. I think it's a little bit too much to ask on the jumping class to grade 1 company. No graded stakes experience, so I'm going to play a wait and see on Tank. Early Adopter is another one I'm going to pass on, even though it is Pratt and Brown. Hasn't been able to crack a stakes win. The 5th in the Audubon as the beaten favorite just didn't do it for me. So I don't see the improvement coming versus grade 1 company. Maybe proves me wrong, but I'm going to wait and see because it could take a lot of money at the betting windows being Clairvich Stables, Chad Brown, Jose Ortiz. So we will wait and see on that one. Luther is also a wait and see, shipping over from across the pond. I know he's running some good ones, but I don't see the foreign invaders winning this race a whole lot. I think Bolshoi Ballet was the last overseas winner in 2021. So this one I think does lack a little bit of class, does have some really great breeding, but we should see, I think, him be competitive somewhere down the road. And no, somebody paid 300 and almost $320,000 for him at auction. So Luther, keep an eye out. Now we get into the real meat of the field here. New Century, Oyson Murphy is taking over for Ortiz, but that's no drop off in talent. Murphy's ridden this horse to several victories overseas and at Woodbine, won the grade 1 summer stakes, got off slow, but closed hard again. So getting away from Zulu Kingdom, New Century just has his rival Test Score coming up next to deal with. So we'll see how Test Score compares. And I don't think there's much. I think Test Score is just better. Honestly, I think you got the Maiden Breaker down here with Manny. Manny low key good on turf routes at Saratoga, so I'm going to trust that along with how good this horse has been. Lost to Zulu Kingdom in a tight one, but the Transylvania win was just really good. Cleared Scipio and Maui Strong pretty easily. So definitely has the experience and definitely has the connections to get it done. Graham Motion up in the mix as the trainer. Test Score going to be my top choice. Now you have Final Gambit, Brad Cox, Flavian Pratt. This horse will no doubt take money. Could actually be your betting favorite, which is probably good if you're fading. But the Juddamont bred horse can close like a banshee, so it's going to be tough. Ran down the one turf race down here was closing hard, but seemed to react a little late to Maui Strong because Maui Strong got the drop on him and blew him out basically, and then he closed the gap late. But I think this horse has matured a ton since then. So obviously the back-to-back wins at Turfway, the Jeff Ruby, and then the solid 4th place close in the slop at Churchill. So the Matt win, you can draw a line through it. That didn't exist. So I'm going to give this horse a really good chance to win the race. And with Flavian Pratt aboard, who wouldn't say that, right? World Beater is probably a potential win candidate, but I'm going to just fade the connections. Riley Mott is 0 for 12 in graded stakes. Um, Jamie Torres, not a big graded stakes guy, too. So, although the horse has been working pretty good, Oscar Performance, I do like as a sire. Just too many other good ones in here. So, if he moves forward, could definitely be in the mix closing late, but we will have to see. Flying Mohawk's another interesting one I've been looking forward to getting back on the turf. Not sure if this is the right spot for him to get it done, but going back to the turf, I watched a couple of the races. Churchill Downs was a really good win by 5, but didn't really beat anybody there. But the optional claiming Hunter K was pretty good. States Rights is a pretty solid horse, but he just didn't look that great closing in that stretch drive. But he does have some skills, and Frankie Dettori riding does give an upgrade on the turf, in my opinion. Frankie Dettori's got 2 wins and 5 starts. I feel like Frankie Dettori's going to have a good Saratoga meet, so I will definitely play underneath and won't be shocked if he wins because blinkers do come on, which could help focus with Wick. But the one thing I do have a knock against Whit Beckman on is that he tends to jack around with equipment a lot. Blinkers on, blinkers off. He did it with Flying Mohawk, Anna Marie, a few other horses. So I'm gonna just keep that off the ticket. So that's the field for race number 8. Race number 9, I've narrowed it down to test score number 5 for the win. And I think I like a kind of a trifecta of a 5-6-7 over 5-6-7, and then overall for a trifecta for like a 50-cent trifecta. I think that's a pretty good risk for race 9. So we'll go to race number 10, Suburban, and that's going to be a 10 furlong. And go check out the preview video for that. And long story short, it was all about Locked. Went through and looked at this field again, and Phillies Fog is a really good horse. I think that the 5-year-old gelding could be very competitive coming from the inside post. Carmouche, really good at getting them out fast, and it does like to get toward the lead. So from the one post, if he doesn't secure the lead, could be in trouble. So keep that in mind. And number 2, Disarm, clearly an underneath use. It just has not run to the level it needs to run versus graded stakes company, high graded stakes company. Can win your occasional grade 3 Matt wins against Verifying and Bo Cruz, but not beating this field. So I'm passing on Disarm, passing on San Siro for similar reasons. Nice grade 3 efforts, but the grade 2, grade 1, this is a grade 2 affair. I think lacks in the speed category a little bit too. I think that Pimlico Special was pumped up by the early fractions in that race and some slower figures going around the track due to some rain and whatnot. So this was actually on Black Eyed Susan Day, so track was a little firmer that day, but you could see the little S. So it was like fast but soft. So compromising, not good enough. Let's go to Locked. Hasn't done anything wrong whatsoever except run real good. So the second to White Barrio in the Pacific World Classic, really good close. I know White Barrio just blows him out, but he got his head turned at the start, got too far back. So it's tough for him to come from too far back. But when he got into the Santa Anita handicap, he got a good break, and then he was on the lead at the top of the stretch. That's what we need to do, is to get around that second call and start moving, and then get to the leaders at the stretch, and then it's a done deal. Now he kind of got pace compromised early on with the 24:48 in the and I'd mentioned that in the previous video. And then when they turned for home, Fierceness and Most Wanted just had way too much speed, and he kind of got home pretty good, came belatedly. So I think that both Fierceness and White Barrio are 2 of the top 3 older horses in this division, and none of these other ones even cracked the top 10. Locked, I'd say, is a 5th or 6th in the top 10. So I'm going to give the edge to Locked in this race. The half brother Bendug, I think's got some real talent. I think can have a shot here. Pretty good, not great. Best effort was that second by a neck to Bishop's Bay at Oaklawn Park. So he's going to be somewhere in the mix. The gun runner progeny just runs his race, and he's always barking at the door. You can see first, second, and then one bad race to 6 at Charlestown, lost to Skippy by a mile. but that's not that big a deal. Second in this race last year to Krupe, which is kind of weak though. This race last year was kind of weak. That's why I kind of put him on the lower tier where he's not there for the win and won't make the ticket either. So Bendug, exotics only, Honor Marie, Whit Beckman. We talked about Whit and jacking around with equipment changes and distance changes. He's tried this horse every which way but loose. Finally got him across the finish line going 12 furlongs. And you can see the -6 mile and a half races are run at a completely different pace. 89, 87, 95 to close. So this mile and a quarter race is going to be a lot different. You should be able to see more of a positive, faster pace, 103s and 88. So he did run in the Belmont and finished fourth, which is not bad behind Dornoch, Mindframe, and Sierra Leone. So could be cleaning up some superfectas along the way, but I'm not putting them on the ticket. Now, Antiquarian is another one that has good race, bad race kind of vibes to it. Didn't show up, broke the maiden, then didn't show up in the Louisiana Derby, wins the Peter Pan off the layoff, then doesn't show up in the Belmont. Lost to Dornoch, Mindframe, and etc. Then goes on the shelf for a few months and comes back around and debuts with a win and then runs second in the Blame. So his two races have been really good in 2025. 4-year-olds maturing, could be a threat as a sleeper to win this race. So I'm not dismissing him, but I'm not putting him on the pick 5 ticket. So you're welcome to do so, and we'll talk about that at the end of the video. But Antiquarian, awesome. Aaron is not doing it either. I think that was kind of a freak win there at the Pimlico Special. I think the pace was just definitely different in that race. The surface was a little bit softer and allowed for these horses to get out front and do damage. But it was a really good stalking trip. The 105 beating Phileas Fogg, but Phileas Fogg is like the third or fourth horse probably behind, obviously, Locked. Then you have Bendug, then you have Antiquarian. So that's where you land on that. And so it's going to be single in the number 4 Locked for the win and the key horse. Race number 10. Well, last week at the Stephen Foster, I never changed my mind frame. So I am locked in with the number 4 horse for the win here, Locked. Now I'm going to do a trifecta key box, and I think I'll use the 4 on top with the 1, 2, 5, and 7. That will round out the race number 10. And this one I grinded over quite a bit because it was the last one I figured, and I didn't do a separate video on it. So 5.5 on the turf, 4-year-olds and up. Mischievous Angel has got some stakes experience, but really the wins don't come versus stakes horses, and drop it in class, which is good. But I don't think this one's going to be good coming out of the one hole. May be able to get in there and save a little ground, but it's going to need the perfect trip to even be in the mix. So I'm not using Mischievous Angel for that reason. A horse I did grind over, our shot is John Terranova and then Luis Saez. The grade 1 Japer was just a little bit too much. Didn't really got bumped at the break and got off slow and then compromised by an inside post. So really just kind of banged around in traffic and never had a chance. Was much better in the previous race to Shakertown. Think Big, Rogue Lightning, horses like that. So I think the horse has got the talent. Obviously won the grade 2 Woodford last fall, lost by a head to Big Invasion in this race last year, Harvey Pack. So definitely one you can look at. I believe might be like 6-1 morning line odds. I haven't seen the morning line odds officially yet. Surveillance is one I've got interest in. The 8-year-old is a gray, but when they age, they start turning real white. So this one reminds me of an old gray named White Buck back in the day that I raced at, that I won money on several occasions. Beautiful horse. Whenever he ran, I bet on him. So he won more than he lost for me. So I kind of appreciates that. Now this one hasn't been on the turf since the Harvey Pack last summer and was 7th. Did not look good at all in that race. But Linda Rice has trained this horse for a while now. Linda Rice, very good with turf sprints at Saratoga. So she's putting this horse on the turf and going to give him a chance to sprint. Likes to get to the lead early and could actually be able to get there with our shot and Mischievous Angel to the inside. So could have first crack. And then you have Mattingly. Neither one of them show a ton of early speed. So this one could get to the lead. And if he does get to the lead, he's got a puncher's chance to get it done. Adding blinkers also would be good for that inside post and breaking fast to get that early lead too. So that's kind of a tip in my book is turning on the blinkers for that focus. So surveillance on the radar, Mattingly not so much. The turf sprint at Pimlico wasn't very good. Has a couple of good optional claiming races, but and some success last summer. Was a bit of a mixed bag in Florida, so I'm going to pass on that one. Outlaw Kid, I've heard some good things about from other shows, but I'm not getting there on this one. I know it's got some pretty good races in the optional claiming, and maybe some lower level stakes racing. Second in the Troy Grade 3, but that was off the turf on the grass, or I mean on the dirt. So was beaten by surveillance on the dirt there. Then won the inner turf at Woodbine, and but then the next two races not all that great. So I'm going to pass on Outlaw Kid. This is the one that actually I kind of got to the front over the number 2 horse. Was number 6 Works for Me. First in prime power, moving up in class, but the lost by a nose. I went back and started here. Of course, he's got some good vibes at Saratoga. The Mahoney was a pretty good race, but it was a bit of a long shot there. Fanned out, but closed to 5th. So decent figures previously, but when I started really noticing was the win here. Obviously, the turf sprint at Aqueduct to close out the season, then debuts and gets beat by a nose by Felix. Just lost the head bob and really needed that race. I think that was first off the layoff, and then popped huge in the second one, running a 99, 5.5 on Saratoga. So stumbled at the gate and actually bumped around a lot when I went back and looked at the race again from the head-on part. Really got a tough start and got shuffled back, but made up a lot of ground with a quickness. Ran a 106 E2 figure to get back in the mix, and Pratt had him right on the rail. And I mean, he fought like a dog to get through on the rail. And once he got through, Pratt got him to the finish line. And I think that's what's going to happen this time around for this one. Joseph Lee, he's pretty solid in non-graded stakes, 23%. So I'm going to go with that one for the win. Felix, I think, was a little more on the fluky side for that one. Not any real graded stakes experience or stakes experience, period. So I'm going to pass there. Actually, LM, I'm also passing, even though it does have Jose. Safi Jr. is really good with sprinters, but more on the dirt side, in my opinion. But still pretty good all around preparing horses. So I'm not going to use them though, because I just don't think the pace figures add up to me. I'm looking for high 90s or somewhere in that E2 E1 race. So not really even registering early figures, and some of them being the 5 furlong sprint. But horses that have success at Kentucky Downs don't translate to this, in my opinion, as well. So I'm going to pass there. Then you have bring the band home, who was also listed as an early speed horse who might get to the lead, but I don't think, even at 5.5 furlongs, I don't think you're going to see a wire to wire winner, and not specifically this one. But Mark Cassie's pretty dangerous with the turfers, but the outside post would serve a closer better, in my opinion, on the inner turf, or it's not on the inner turf, but in a short race like this, being outside post and a closer is better than being outside post and a sprinter, because you could get caught wide. Like Whitty, a dead stone closer who just rolled down the stretch and kicked away by 3. I don't think that you're going to get the pace set up. You got a 21:46 on that 5 furlong good turf, and a little bit softer, tired him out. I don't think you're going to get that this time, but Whitty, I think, hits the board with a chance to win with some upside if Dylan Davis can get maybe the horse closer to the leaders. But the rest of them pretty much tosses in my book. American Monarch, uh, just too far outside to try to do anything with this one, and it hasn't shown the propensity to close here in the recent starts. But that does round out the field, because Antonio of Venice is main track only. Race number 11, rounding things out. Number 6 Works for Me is going to go in the win slot. Then I'm going to look at a trifecta bet of something like a 3-6-10 over 2-3-6-10 over 2-3-5-6-9-10. So it's kind of spreading deep on the third leg, but maybe we'll catch one at some higher odds on that third leg to bump up that trifecta a little bit. So great show. Thanks for sticking around with me and watching. Thanks for all the support. Late Pick 5 Friday at Saratoga. Happy 4th of July. It's going to be nice here in the Ville. It looks pretty nice there up in Saratoga Springs. So wish you all the best of luck if you're going. If you're out and about, show your patriotism, fly the flag, be damn proud you're an American. And until the next time, we'll see you soon.